Today we'll be reading the poem I Love the Look of Words by Maya Angelou. Now this is another poem rich in techniques that make it very fun to read. Popcorn leaps, popping from the floor of a hot black skillet and into my mouth. Black words leap, snapping from the white page, rushing into my eyes, sliding into my brain which gobbles them the way my tongue and teeth chomp the buttered popcorn. When I have stopped reading, ideas from the words stay stuck in my mind, like the sweet smell of butter perfuming my fingers long after the popcorn is finished. I love the book and the look of words, the weight of ideas that popped into my mind. I love the tracks of new thinking in my mind. So let's begin to explore some of the techniques used in this poem. The technique that I immediately noticed after having just read the poem is a technique called enjambment. Now I'll write this up for us because I don't think many people will be familiar. The word enjambment is spelled E-N-J-A-M-B-E-N-T, enjambment, and it's when one line runs onto the other without any punctuation. So if we look at the first three lines, we can see this is one sentence, and these first two lines, here and here, don't use any punctuation. So if I read this, popcorn leaps, popping from the floor of a hot black skillet and into my mouth. Did you notice there how I didn't pause at the end of those lines? Of course I paused here because there's a full stop, but I didn't pause at the first two. Now that's called enjambment, and it continues on. We can see this line is enjambed, these three are, these four, and then these three. So when there's no punctuation at the end of the line, you're not meant to stop and take a breath. So all of this enjambment creates an effect that when you read the poem has a very free flow. You don't pause too often, one line just runs into the other. And this creates some excitement. Okay, it conveys the excitement of the poet, and it also creates it more exciting to hear the poem and to read it aloud. Now, this just emphasizes how happy and free the poet is feeling. Okay, she's thinking of popcorn, she's thinking of how much she loves reading and words, and so that's just created this effect where how she's written the poem to reflect that, and she's done that through enjambment as one of her methods. Another method to convey her love of words is through a lot of playful, the very playful extended metaphor of the popcorn. Here in this poem, popcorn is repeatedly compared to reading. Okay, that's not something we've seen too often, but it shows how happy both popcorn and words make her feel. There's also some very careful word choice with a lot of onomatopoeia chosen. Okay, we can see popping. So onomatopoeia, I should explain, is when a word sounds like what it's trying to describe. So popping, that word sounds like a pop. Okay, now similarly to this snapping, we've got gobbling, we've got chomping. I think that's all I can say right now. But all of these onomatopoeia just create some more joyful and descriptive poem, really. And it, again, makes it more playful. Now, I especially love in this poem some of the very specific images she just created or described. For example, if we look at the second column, if we look at this simile here, Ideas from the words stay stuck in my mind, like the sweet smell of butter perfuming my fingers long after the popcorn is finished. Now that's a very specific event when the smell of food remains on your fingers, but it's something we can all relate to. We've all experienced that before. So I really love how she's pulled this connection between having ideas in your mind and ideas stay in your mind to the smell of food on your fingers. I think that's really lovely. Um, I also enjoy reading about words jumping up from the page, rushing into my eyes, sliding into my brain, which gobbles them. So there's some personification there of the words jumping up and the brain gobbling words. So really this whole poem is quite fantastical and abstract in that obviously none of this can really happen in real life, but it really just expresses the poet's joy. And this poem was clearly fun to read and I'm sure fun for her to write. And really that's what its purpose is. This poem's purpose is just to express the joy of reading and writing.